Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Episode 54 of Sports Stuff Hub Live is underway. We have now been doing this for a year. And when I say we, it's not just me. It's everybody that tunes in. All the guests that I've had, everybody. We are over 1 year, 54 episodes. We passed the 1 year mark about a month ago. We didn't really celebrate it. I mentioned it briefly because I didn't look up and see when exactly episode 1 took place. But it's been over a year. I've missed a couple of weeks here and there for a few things, whether I was at the National or was at the Industry Summit or just had to had other things going on a Tuesday night. And we've covered a lot of ground. We have covered a COVID odd football season, a COVID off season, the draft. I've had interviews with people such as Eric Doty from Loop, and we've had Dean and Mark Magana on a few times, numerous times by both, including a live mock first-round NFL draft. We've had some fun. We've had some good times. We've ripped some boxes, given some stuff away. We've pulled some monsters on the show, and we've given some cool stuff away on the show. And we're going to keep doing this. I wanted to, when I first started doing this last year, I wanted to give it at least one full year and see how it went. And we haven't grown to any kind of substantial, massive amount, which is fine. I don't mind having a small audience to start with. As I've said, and a lot of people always say, you got to start somewhere. And I like having this smaller audience to start with, and kind of getting used to how this operates. Obviously, with not having a formal studio ready to go yet, because our expansion of our living dwelling was delayed. It also then delayed the office and the studio. So I'm good with keeping it a little bit smaller right now. I haven't really been pushing for some of the bigger interviews yet because I'm waiting for better software, upgraded camera. Microphone seems to be fine now. That kind of stuff. After having Tony Bianchini on with me the last time, where the stream froze up and we couldn't even do the show, and Eric Doty on the time before that, where we couldn't even do the show because we were having such lag issues. It has made me gun shy. Now the funny thing is I can have West Coast people on, Mark Magana, Dean, no problems. But then I have Tony and Eric, who are East Coasters, and all of a sudden it's like my equipment just goes, screw you guys. You guys can't be on this show. And it interferes with everything, and I can't do it. So I am going to run some tests in the next few weeks with Tony and a few other people and see if I can diagnose this problem, because it does not seem to be going away. We had the same issue on break night last week. We had to wait for the camera to adjust, or for my computer to adjust. I don't know what the problem was, but we haven't had that issue in a while, and all of a sudden it popped up last break night. So and it about almost happened. I'm watching my numbers right now, my diagnostics, and it almost just happened again. So it's almost like it comes and goes, and I don't know why. I think what I'm going to end up having to do is I'm probably just going to have to hire a specialist to come in and program everything and see if there's some piece in my computer, some program in my computer that is holding this up. I haven't figured it out yet, but we're not going to give up. We're not going to give up. This show is going to continue to go, and it's going to continue to build, and we're going to continue to make it a lot of fun. Hey guys, David and Taylor, I see, just joined in. David, my wisdom teeth are feeling a lot better. I went back into the dentist on Thursday, because I was in rough shape. And my wife got me in the morning on an emergency, and they did some x-rays. Everything was fine, just sore. Had a chat with the dentist about it, and they had me change the lower medication that I was on. I wasn't on anything hardcore. I was literally taking Excedrin, which is what I take when I have a headache. Just 2 pills, nothing massive, because my body doesn't do well with medication. And so they were just like, no, you need Excedrin's not going to do anything for that. And I was like, oh, what do I need to take? I don't want hardcore drugs. And they're just like, just switch to Advil. I'm like, well, that's simple enough. So I literally went to Costco after the dentist, got some Advil, 2 Advil, was fine that night, 2 Advil in the morning, fine all day, 2 Advil at night, fine all night, 2 Advil in the morning. And I did that for about 3 or 4 more days, and I haven't had any today, and I'm a million times better. It just was, that soreness was just, it wasn't going away. And the funny thing is, so my wife works at the dental office, and the main reason why I went in was because when I'm talking to her about how sore I am and how my mouth hurts and all this kind of stuff, I couldn't talk very well because it hurt so bad. And so my wife then does what, it's a non-offensive way to say this. My wife did what some people do, and went online and started researching. And all of a sudden, symptoms of dry socket and all that stuff. That's when the blood cap, when you have a tooth pulled, the blood cap falls off before the wound heals, and then could get infections and whatnot. So she's freaking out at this point, and she's just like, no, you need to go in. You're gonna have to get this done and this done and this done, and you're potentially gonna have to get it stitched up and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, okay, so I'm talking to the dentist, and he's just like, you're fine. I don't see anything wrong. He was in my mouth for about 15 seconds. He's like, I don't see anything wrong. Why'd you come in? And I was like, well, so my wife, when I told her I was still pretty sore, jumped online and was looking at all these symptoms, and the dentist literally goes, oh, so Kimmy did one of those types of things. Tell her not to do that. I kind of started chuckling. I was like, so it's not that bad? And he's like, no, you're fine. And I was like, okay. So go out front, buy wife, go home, went to Costco, Advil. That night, I'm just like, oh, hey, by the way, Dr. Kim told me to tell you, stop looking at the internet for dumb shit. That's exactly what he said. Stop looking at the internet for dumb shit. And she's just like, what? And I was like, he said, don't try to sit there and look up all the medical stuff online. 9 times out of 10, you're wrong. And she was just like, oh, okay, I'll stop doing that. And I'm just like, and it's funny because anytime you talk to anybody in the medical profession, they hate when people use things like WebMD or try to source what's wrong with them and then try to tell the doctor what's wrong with them before the doctor even sees them. And it was just funny hearing that from the dentist, because she works with this dentist every day. And so it was one of those things where Dr. Kim's just like, tell her don't do that. What's up, Miles? So yeah, so I'm way better now. I am way better. I haven't even had to take any Advil today at all for my teeth or for my mouth or my jaw. It's been a million times better. It literally was like 3-4 days worth of taking Advil twice a day, and that was it. And I was taking 500 milligrams was all. It was like two 250 milligram pills, and it just no problems at all throughout the day. And I'm doing way better now. I can talk today. I can open my jaw better now. So much better. So now comes the fun part, because in about a month or two, I have to go get 2 crowns. I think it's on this side. and another crown, I think, on this side. And then next year, I'm going to be looking at things like Invisalign. I'm going to get my teeth straightened up. I'm going to get all this mess up here, all up in here, cleaned up, so I don't have to hide my mouth behind a microphone when I talk to you guys. You guys will see this big cheesy shit-eating grin all over your guys' TVs. But I am getting it all taken care of, doing it a little bit later in life than I should have. Now I hear my wife constantly when my mouth is sore. I'm like, oh, this sucks. And she'd be like, why didn't you get it done when you were a teenager? It's like, well, because the dentist never recommended it. She's like, well, you had crappy dentists. Except she didn't use the word crappy. So here I sit in my late 30s, almost 40 years old, and I'm getting my teeth fixed finally, which is good. I mean, it's been honest moment here. This is, I almost dropped my stress ball. Honest moment here for a minute, real moment. My biggest self-conscious thing has been my teeth. The two things that I've been the most self-conscious about in my life was my weight, because not that I was overweight, I was extremely underweight. So the two things that I've been extremely self-conscious about in my life have been my weight and my teeth. Everything else, I just looked at it as I didn't give a crap. I was good with. And my teeth were one of those things where I knew the process to get them fixed, straightened, whatever you want to refer to it as, was a lot different than weight was, because weight was I struggled with weight all my life. I shot up when I was young, and I struggled with being too skinny for the majority of my life. And it wasn't until I hit my 30s, and I made a bet with a buddy that actually got me, that got the weight on me. Some of you have not met me in person. Some of you have. Actually, most everybody that watches the show, at least. But some of you people that are watching this pre-recorded, I'm 6'9". I'm not a small person at all. I am 6'9". And when I graduated high school, I was 6'8", and I was about 190 pounds. I was rail thin. And we're talking a guy that played basketball and football and went to college to play both. I was 6'8", 190 pounds, going to college. I was too skinny. When I got to college, that was the first thing that the coaching staff said. Boy, we need to put some weight on you. And I was like, you guys can help me with that? I was so ready for that. I thought I had gotten to miracle workers. I was like, you guys must know what you're talking about. Now, granted, I went to a high school where I had a football coach who was a strength coach and incredible knowledge in the football world and in weightlifting and everything, and he taught me proper forms, and I started working out when I was a sophomore, and I was strong. I was strong. I was squatting 500 pounds when I was a senior in high school. Actually, I was squatting by the time I was a junior. I was squatting 500, but I never really went beyond that because it was too much weight for the people that we had for support. I squatted 500 pounds as a junior. Bench was never really my strong suit because I had long, gangly arms, and so bench was a problem for me. I never really got beyond about 200 to 215 pounds on bench. And then I had a shoulder injury my senior year of high school, which drug out for years, and so I never really got bench going. But after my shoulder surgery my senior year, at the end of my senior year, when I got to college, I was like, whew, you guys are going to be able to put weight on me. Okay. I'm down for that. And I had already had one surgery on my shoulder, and I'd already re-dislocated my shoulder by this point. And so I knew that another surgery was coming down the road. Now, the first surgery I had was arthroscopic, which, if you don't know what arthroscopic surgery is, that's where they take and just basically cut little incisions, and they go in with a little camera and whatever tools they're using, and they do it with very fine tools without getting too detailed into it. I have a whole video of my surgery from back then. And my surgery was odd for the time especially. And I may have said this on the show a couple of times. The way your shoulder is set up, it's like a ball and socket. Here's your shoulder bone, the socket, or excuse me, the ball, and then your shoulder, the plate that holds it in is kind of cupped. This is the way the doctor explained it to me. On your shoulder, on the back side here, is a cartilage wall that hangs down that holds this socket into place. Okay? That holds the ball into place. What I had done my senior year in high school, when I dislocated my shoulder, was the ball came out of the socket and it tore this cartilage wall off the bone, so it was literally, let's see if I can get this right, dangling like this. Okay? So they went in with their little camera and their little tools, and they took sutures, which are essentially stitches. They took sutures, and they sutured the cartilage back to this bone ledge right here that it was attached to, in hopes that it would heal back and the sutures would dissolve and my cartilage would heal back onto it properly. Well, first of all, when I dislocated my shoulder the first time was in September of 2020. When I had my surgery, my first one, it was April of 2021. Because I wanted to finish my senior year, and I didn't want to miss out on the rest of the football season and the basketball season. I thought I could play through this injury. I was young and dumb and just a complete idiot. And so my surgery happened, and when I went back for my first, I don't know which is which, but it was the MRI, X-ray, whatever, where they could see the cartilage. The cartilage on this, here we go, this hand. The cartilage on this bone wall here, instead of healing properly and straight, and so it was all lined up nice, was wavy because it had stretched out. Because of it dangling off the bone for so long, and my shoulder popping out numerous times over that 8 months between when I damaged it and when I actually had my surgery, the cartilage had stretched out. So, fast forward to after my surgery, and I'm a month after my surgery, and I'm shoulder brace off, playing basketball in the gym, full speed, with friends. I'm an idiot. I'm an 18-year-old idiot. And I'm like, oh, man, all right, well, hey, it's the end of May. School is just about done. My senior year is just about graduation. And we have a basketball tournament that I've played in for the last 3 seasons with my friends in the summertime. And I'm like, hey, I can play in this tournament this year. I didn't think I'd be able to. Let's get signed up. So I get my buddies that played in this tournament every year with me. We're going to go take this tournament. So we get signed up. We go to this tournament, and the first game of the tournament, I was standing at the free throw line. We're in the middle of a play, and I'm up at the free throw line, and my buddy passes me the ball. I up fake, guy goes past me. I take a couple dribbles in, and I'm coming in, and I'm coming in hard. My buddy is down by the rim, and his defender steps over in front of me. So I dribble, and I go up. He comes to jump, and so I go and do one of these numbers where I scoop it down like this, and I go to dish it to my buddy who's standing there wide open with nobody around him underneath the hoop. So open he probably could have had a coffee, a donut, a bagel, and still had a free shot. And as I scooped to pass him the ball, this motion, shoulder popped out. And I hit the ground, and eyes just went black. The amount of pain from my shoulder ripping through the cartilage wall, taking out all the sutures, the pain was just immense, and I collapsed. And I was still holding the ball, and I instantly blacked out. And I remember coming to seconds later, and my buddy is standing over top of me, and he takes the ball out of my hands and gives it to somebody else, and he's like, dude, are you okay? And he grabs that arm to try to get me on my feet. And I'm like, no. Oh, ow. And he's just like, what? And I was like, my shoulder popped out again. So I had to then go back through my, get back into my bucket of knowledge on how to put my shoulder back in now that I'd done it, a dozen times. And I had to put my shoulder back into place on my own. And I walk off the court and I go grab my shoulder brace. Now this shoulder brace is meant to hold, it's a harness that holds you tight, and it's connected underneath the arm. So it's connected from here to here to keep you from raising your arm up, because this is vulnerable. Up here is vulnerable. And so I go and put this brace on, and I'm like, this is first game of the frickin' tournament. This sucks. And I'm in, fantastic shape and working out, and I'm headed to college to play sports, and this is not going to stop me. So I try playing the rest of this tournament left-handed, shooting, because I can't shoot right-handed because of this brace that's on me. So I'm now dribbling right, which I can pull off, and shooting left, which I had done a fair amount of because of this shoulder surgery. When I was cooped up in the sling like this, I was doing a lot of this. I was throwing baseballs left-handed. I was trying to throw footballs left-handed. I hadn't been able to throw a football since August of 2020. And so that got me messed up again. So then I spent the next however long not being able to really do sports at the level I'm used to. So anyway, fast forward, I go to college. These athletic trainers and coaches, we're going to put weight on you. And I'm just like, yeah, let's do it. And so they tell me that I need to increase my calorie intake. Cool. All right. So they have me start sitting with them at breakfast, lunch, and dinner with the team. Because when you play football, you go early to college, obviously, because, you have your 2-a-days and stuff. And so I had to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the coach's table. They made my plates for me. They filled my trays with food. And I had to eat every bit of it before I could leave. And I did that for the first few weeks. And I saw results. And so I start stepping on the scale, 195, 200, 205, 208, 210, 215, 217, 219, 220, 221, 221, 222, 223, 221, 223, 222, 225. And I hit 225 after dancing in between 220 and 223 for about a week, being weighed multiple times a day, by the way. And another week passes, 225 peak. Another week passes, 225 peak. I'm now like 3.5, 4 weeks into the actual college going. We're not talking since 2-a-days started. I'm talking 2 to 3 weeks into college now. 225 peaked. And now, I was working out like crazy, granted, being easy on my shoulder because I had to be very careful with my shoulder, but doing, a lot of lower body, a lot of core, a lot of left-handed stuff, neck, shoulders, traps, that kind of stuff. But I had to be very careful with my right shoulder. And a couple weeks pass of a peak of 225. And literally, our athletic trainer, our head trainer, is just like, "Damn it, Samuelson! I cannot figure out what is wrong with you. Why can't you get higher? We are shoving food down your throat more than I've ever seen anybody eat. And we're talking, we've got 350-pound, 6'8" offensive linemen. What is wrong with you? Do you have a damn tapeworm, Samuelson?" No. My metabolism is extremely high, and I'm very active. That's a bad combination for a kid. And when I say kid, yes, I was 18 years old. So they put me on, I don't know if you've ever seen bulk pudding. If you like pudding, you will hate bulk pudding. I didn't mind it because I loved pudding a lot, and I can still to this day eat it. But if you've ever seen a bulk can, we're talking a soup, imagine a soup can, but in a gallon size. Gallon size soup can of pudding, of chocolate pudding. And so they had me eating one of those a day. How did they monitor this? I had to bring them the goddamn empty can every day. I literally had to eat a gallon of pudding and bring them the can every day. 2 straight weeks of this. And that's on top of eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner with my coaches at their table. $225. Never saw a scale hit 226 while I was in college. Not once. Not once. So, yeah, I've been very self-conscious about my weight, and at 6'9" by that point, and 225, I still look at pictures of myself back then, and I'm just like, my God, kid, eat something. And I was never able to put the weight on. I can't count how many times I had somebody walk up to me and say, "Do you even eat? You are like a skeleton." I can't even think of how many different ways people have said it to me throughout my life. And so my entire collegiate career, I never surpassed 225 pounds. Another surgery later, was never cleared to actually I was never cleared to actually play a sport after my freshman year. Football, my freshman year, I got to kick, which then donned the nickname of punter, which some of you may know my email address is xpunter83. And I got dubbed nickname punter because I was not physically cleared to play wide receiver. And so my RA, my freshman year, who ended up being my now ex brother-in-law, he married my sister. They were married for a couple of years. He nicknamed me punter my first day at college because I was medical redshirted from playing wide receiver. So my first year of eligibility got burned because we didn't have another punter on the team other than our varsity punter. They needed somebody in JV to punt, which then I ended up kicking field goals as well for him because they didn't have a backup kicker either. So I ended up having to burn my freshman freaking year of eligibility. Instead of being a medical red shirt for football, I had to burn it and step on the field to punt and kick, which kind of pissed me off. But then basketball season rolled around, and I have an unstable shoulder. And the first day of practice, didn't quite know how bad it was, how bad the shoulder socket was at this point. And my first day of basketball practice, I've met the coach multiple times by this point, but I was basketball and football, so I'd spend half the practice at football, and then I'd come in for basketball, get ready for basketball practice. So my first day of basketball practice, we set up full court layups, passing drill. And if you've ever done, if you've never done this kind of drill before, what you have is you have a person, a full court line, and you have a person passing the ball at the free throw line on the back court, at the half court, and then at the free throw line on your court, on your side of the court. And so you pass, get it back, pass, get it back, pass, get it back, layup. You know, pass, turn, pass, turn, pass, turn, layup. Okay? I go my first trip down the court, and I'm fine. First guy passes, you know, I get down to the end, do the layup. The guy passed me the ball really early, had plenty of time. Boom, layup, no problem. I go back down the court on the opposite side. Guy dishes me the ball late. And when I say late, I'm damn near underneath. You know, I'm getting close to underneath. And again, I'm 6'9". And by the way, when I was in high school, when I graduated high school and I got to college, I had a 37-inch vertical. And I'm 6'9". Okay? I get the ball from the last pass, and I turn. Don't even have to take a dribble. That's how close I was to the basket. And I turn, and I go to lay it up, and my wrist catches the bottom of the backboard, pushes my shoulder back, and dislocates it. It was like the basketball tournament all over again. Blacked out, hit the ground. When I hit the ground this time, because I fell backwards, popped my shoulder back into place, thankfully. Woke up a few seconds later. Never stepped on a basketball court again in college. Trainer wraps me up. Will not allow me to touch a basketball until I get my shoulder surgery done. Call home. Grandma, hey, we got to get the shoulder surgery done. Calls the doctor, gets the schedule for January. January rolls around. This time they cut me wide open. I have a scar on my shoulder from, can't see it very well, but from here down to my pectoral muscle. They basically rebuilt part of my shoulder. They gave me two options. We can do another arthroscopic. Don't know if it'll hold, but you'll be back before the end of the season, before the end of the school year. Okay. Or we can cut you open. You will follow rehab to the T. You will not push yourself, and you will do it properly, because if you screw it up this time, there's nothing we can do for you. Oh. The doctor looks at me and goes, Ryan, if you ever plan on having kids, and if you screw this up, you'll drop your kid picking them up in the future. You will go to pick them up, and they will be too heavy for your shoulder, and your shoulder will give out, and you will drop your child. Do you want that? And I go, nope. Nope, don't want that. Nope. And he goes, don't F this up. So I go in, full on, open it up. And I go and sleep on my sister's couch for like 2 weeks as I'm healing. And yeah, that was fun. And I tell you what, when they shave your armpit and your arm is then sucked to your side and those hairs start to grow back under your armpit, oh boy, that is brutal. That was probably one of the most annoying things of the entire surgery, to be quite honest. The hair growing back on the armpit and having your arm stuck to your side, so you're feeling the hair poking, growing back. Oh my God. Oh, yeah. So anyway, I spend, after I'm out of bed, I go back to college, and I spend the next 2.5 months carrying a clipboard and documenting every single play that our basketball team ran. Every shot. I ran the shot chart. I ran the movement chart. I watched what our opponents did. I had it dialed in. I was more focused on basketball in that period of time than I'd ever been in my life. And it bugged the shit out of me that I couldn't play. Especially when we went to play another college locally, that a kid that I played against in high school ended up going to that college. That I hated that kid. He was one of our rivals from our conference, and he was an asshole. And he was playing, and I couldn't play obviously because I'd had surgery. And he tells one of his teammates that I'm not playing because he wrecked my shoulder my senior year in high school. And one of my teammates comes over and says that pregame. And I'm like, what? What'd that clown say? And he's like, yeah, he's telling his teammates that he destroyed your shoulder because during my senior year, I went up for a rebound. It wasn't against him, but it was against their team. And I went up for a rebound, and one of his teammates hooked into underneath my arm, and it subluxed a little bit. It didn't fully come out, but it subluxed enough to make my arm go dead temporarily. So he was telling his entire college team that he put me out of commission for a year. And I'm just like, I'm going to beat the shit out of that kid. So anyway, I'm focused. I'm dialed in. And never was cleared to play. The next year, I went back to college. And so I'm back at, this was before I transferred to North Dakota State. And I'm back at college. And first day of practice, first day of open gym with the basketball team. This was not even during a football practice time. This was just the basketball team. I went and played, and we played some pickup games, and it was these were guys that I literally shot charted in an entire season. I knew everything about these players, and I mopped on these guys. These were guys that never got to see me do anything, and I cleaned them. And they were all just like, you got to be freaking kidding me. And at this point, I still couldn't even go 100%. Which, by the way, I also went to a college that we didn't have a lot of tall guys either. You know, some of our tallest guys were 6'5", 6'6", but we had some kids that were, 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot, and they could jump. Holy crap. And it was an eye-opener for me. And Coach calls me into his office because I went home for the summer. I went home, got a job, worked, lived with I grew up with my grandparents, lived with my grandparents for the summer. Coach calls me and says, I didn't see you here at all during the summer. I'm like, yeah, Coach, I went home for the summer. I had a job during the summer, and I went home. It's, 3.5, 4 hours away. And he goes, you were supposed to be here all summer. I'm like, well, that was never relayed to me at all. And he goes, you're undisciplined. I'm like, excuse me? And he goes, you were completely undisciplined. I've never met somebody with such a lack of dedication to basketball ever. And I kind of stopped for a second, and I had to gather myself, and I was like, did you seriously just say that to me? I watched more film last year than you did. I know our players in and out better than you do. You don't know crap about our players, nor do you know crap about me. I spent more time in this facility last season than you, the head coach, did. I'm like, undisciplined and undedicated? Give me a freaking break. And I turned around and walked out. I was like, this is BS. I'm like, I put in hundreds of hours with the team. Oh, I was pissed. So I left. Transferred to North Dakota State at the end of the semester, and went and met with the coaches. All right, you got to pass physicals, all this kind of stuff. Went to my doctor, went to my physical therapist. No go. What? You got to be kidding me. I just transferred from Valley City to North Dakota State. Nope. Can't play. We're not going to give you medical clearance to play. Okay, what do I got to do? You got to keep rehabbing. I'm like, all right. And he goes, remember what I told you before the surgery? Don't F this up. Yes. Okay, yes, sir. Go back through another 6 months. Basketball season by this point's done. Doc, come on. What's up? Nope. Your shoulder's doing great. I'm still not going to clear you to play. You got to be freaking kidding me. Nope. Still not going to clear you to play. All right. Junior year. Like I said, I spent freshman year at Valley City, transferred to North Dakota State during my sophomore, and now I'm a junior at North Dakota State, wanting to play sports. Talk to the coaches. Not until you're cleared. By this point, they already have my whole file, and they know my doctor, they know my physical therapist. Okay, go back to my physical therapist / doctor. Doctor tells me, hey, by the way, I just took this job at this college on the East Coast. This will be the last time you see me. Ooh. This might be my shot. And this is all going through my head literally within like 30 seconds. I might be able to sneak by then, and I could get medically eligible to play. And all of a sudden, in walks this other doctor, and older doctor that looked like a sourpuss. And he goes, I've already briefed Dr. So-and-so on your situation. He'll be monitoring you from here on out. Don't worry, he's one of the best physical therapist doctors we've got in the Minnesota, North Dakota area. You got to be kidding me. He was worse. 6 more months pass. Shoulder's looking great. Your shoulder's doing fantastic. Okay, doc. Give me that little note, buddy. Let's do this. Nope. Sorry. Just don't feel comfortable yet. I don't believe your shoulder will hold if you have to take a hit on a football field or if you go get tied up in a rebound. Really? All right. We're now looking at 2004. It is now my I'm at 3.5 years of college by this point, and still not being cleared to play. And I'm now at a point where I'm so pissed that I'm going to the gym and playing basketball with friends, full speed. I'm now going down to an outdoor basketball court in Moorhead, Minnesota, which is right on the border of North Dakota, Minnesota. Moorhead, Minnesota is on the east side of the Red River. Fargo, North Dakota is on the west side of the river. That river separates them. That's it. And my buddies and I are going down to what's called the Dike, which was the basketball court, the outdoor basketball court right by the river. And this was a court that if you don't have game, you don't show up, you will get run off. And we used to go down there and play. And we're talking, this was physical play, everything. I had guys that I saw in college. One of my former teammates from Valley City, who was also on the football team, who was an All-American wide receiver on the football team as well. His name was Steve Battle. This guy was 6'4", and he had probably a 40-plus inch vertical. He even came out and ran with us one day, middle of the day on a Saturday, came out and ran with us one time. And he even came up to me afterwards and was like, after the first game, and he was just like, yo, bro, I'm on your team next round. He goes, I did not know you could play. He goes, I thought you were just a bench warmer this whole time because of your shoulder injury. And I was just like, Battle. No, we're good. Don't worry about it. So he was on my team the next round. And I was playing like this for another 6 months. And then doctor again would not clear me to play. Then I ended up leaving college. Ended up getting jobs, working full-time, and was going to school part-time, and changed majors 3 times in my last 6 months. Technically I'm a senior, especially if I went back into mass comm. And yeah. So anyway, the whole point of the story was my self-consciousness with my body. I never surpassed 225 pounds. Never. And then moved out here shortly after that. And played a lot of basketball, worked out a ton when I got out here. Weighed myself constantly, never cracked. I dropped myself back down to about 215 for how much sports I was playing. Nothing. Couldn't get up. Was playing competitive basketball. Got chased by the Bellingham Slam, the semi-pro team up in Bellingham, coached by Luke Ridenour's dad, and had a couple semi-pro football teams that were chasing me up in that area that I wasn't going to go play for because there was no pay, no insurance, find your own way to games. No. And a buddy of mine ended up blowing out his knee because that game, that league is dangerous to play in because it's a lot of people who don't know how to properly play. So it's very dangerous. And so about a year and a half, 2 years after I moved out to Washington, I went in for a checkup on my shoulder. I wanted to see how it was doing. And went and saw a physical therapist, and they had my file transferred from Fargo, and looked into it, and I spent 2 or 3 days of going in and getting some tests done and whatnot, and they medically cleared me. And I could have gone back to college, and I still would have had 3 years of eligibility. Then I ended up moving down to the Seattle area and played in multiple leagues, basketball, football, played for played with a lot of former D1 collegiate athletes and semi-pro guys, practice squad guys, and had a blast, had a lot of fun doing that, and got talked into trying out for the Seahawks. And the year I was supposed to try out for the Seahawks was the strike. So my, we'll just call him, I've always called him Uncle Pete. He was my aunt's significant other's brother-in-law. And I've known him since I was a kid. His name was, he was just always Uncle Pete to me. Well, his neighbor worked for the front office for the Seahawks. And this guy had apparently followed my high school and college career. And when I moved out here, I was down working on Uncle Pete's house with him, helping him do some stuff. And he comes over and he's like, and by the way, if you haven't noticed, I'm a diehard Steelers fan. And this guy comes over and goes, hey, how's everything going sports-wise, health-wise, all this kind of stuff? And I'm like, it's going. I'm getting better. I mean, my health seems fine. I've been medically cleared. And he was just like, hey, anytime you want to try out with the Seahawks, let me know. And me being a dumb, at the time, 23, 24-year-old, Seahawks. No, I'm good, bro. I'm good. So, a couple years later, when I was playing hardcore, I made a bet with some friends, and I was going to try out for the Seahawks. Well, then the strike happened, and so I called him up, and I was like, hey, you made that offer a couple of years ago. Is that offer still good? And he was just like, Ryan, anything for you, but right now we're in the middle of a strike. We can't do tryouts. Can't do anything like that. And I'm like, okay, so when things get going, he was like, yeah, we'll wait and see when that happens, because if it happens during the season, that may not be easy to do, but we'll see. So, okay. Season rolls around. Some of you guys might remember this. I believe this was the year of 2011 or 2012. Season is about ready to start, and the strike is still going on. And then, like, days before the season, they come to terms, the CBA and whatever, and then they solve their stuff. Strike's over. Week 1 of the regular season, off. Well, literally 3 days before, or the weekend before the regular season was supposed to start, my girlfriend at the time, her and I lived together, and we had a dog. We had a puppy. And I use the term puppy loosely. He was, a year old. But he's not a big dog, but he was a mix, German Shepherd, Rottweiler. There was a little bit of pit in him, lab in him. He was a mutt. But he wasn't giant. He was, he was about 45, 50 pounds. Not a huge dog. Well, he's young. And so we go down to the ferry dock, the ferry terminal in Mukilteo, which wasn't too far from where we lived at the time. And I want to teach him how to swim. So we go down into the water, and it's her and her son and I and the dog. And so I got the dog. I've got his leash on him at least. We're down in, waist high water, and I'm picking him up and I'm throwing him about 5 feet past me, and I've got the leash in my one hand so that just in case he goes under, I can at least pull him back to me. And he was doing okay, he started paddling back, and so he'd paddle past me, obviously, so that he can get back onto the beach. And so I was, tossing him out a little bit further each time, and I did this about 10 times, and then all of a sudden, so I go and grab him off the beach again, and I pick him up, and I go to, like, when I get back out with him in the water, I kind of almost like a shot put style push this time on his butt. And so I launch him, and he goes, probably close to 10 feet away from me. And I feel a sharp pain go right up my arm to my elbow. And I'm just like, I'm holding my arm down at my side, and I'm like, oh shit. And I dropped his leash, which was fine because he could swim by this point anyways. And he goes swimming past me, and I'm standing there in the water facing out away from the beach, and my, at the time, girlfriend is still up on the beach, and I'm just sitting there holding my arm, and I turn around and I start walking towards the beach, and she looks at me and she sees the pain on my face, and she goes, what's wrong? What'd you do? And all of a sudden she looks down at my hand, and she's like, Ryan, your hand. And I looked down, and my hand was like dislocated to the point where it was like this. My hand was actually like pointed this way. I'd completely dislocated my hand pushing him. And I was like, I looked down and I saw it, and I was like, oh my God. And so I, like, my arm, I was holding my elbow. And so I took my other hand and I slid it down my forearm and straightened my hand back out. And I was like, holy crap. And she was just like, what did you do? And I was like, I'd been doing what I just did the whole time. I was just pushing him in the, throwing him into the water. And so we get home, and her son had a wrist brace in the past. And so I go grab his wrist brace, which was too small for me. So I go down to the drugstore and bought a wrist brace and put this wrist brace on. And so that night I took the wrist brace off, and I was like, it was swollen. And so I was tipping my hand forward. I couldn't actually bend my hand like this at all. And so I tipped my hand forward and I kind of pushed it, and all of a sudden it goes pop, and it lifts up about an inch. And I was like, oh crap. And I lift my hand back up, straighten it up, put the wrist brace on. And so for about 2 weeks it was doing that, where it would pop. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to go in for surgery for this. Never did, by the way. But to this day, I still get pops. And of course, so that happened literally before the 2012 season or whatever, right as the strike is getting lifted, and I'm supposed to go potentially have a tryout with the Seahawks. I was pissed. So I was 27, I think, at the time, and in incredible shape. I mean, and when I say incredible shape, I mean I was in sports playing shape. I was playing sports 3-4 times a week. I was working out 3-4 times a week. Lived in the gym, lived on a basketball court and on a football field. And yeah, that destroyed that. And so my struggle with my weight then comes to a head shortly thereafter. I was talking to a buddy who is a physical trainer, a rather good one, and which, by the way, I haven't seen him in years. And so we were talking one day, and this was middle of the football season, just a few months after that. And he was just like, man, we need to do something about your weight. I'm like, yeah, good luck with that. I'm like, man, I had literal professionals in college try to do this, and they couldn't get me past 225. And I was about 220 at the time. Couldn't get me past 225. What the hell do you think you're going to do? And he's like, okay, well, let's at least talk. All right, what do you want to know? Do you watch your calories every day? Nope, I just eat. I eat till I'm full. Okay, mostly then you're probably eating enough at least. How active are you? I'm like, well, dude, you see me at the gym and you see me play sports. I'm like, I literally I maybe have one day off in sport, or one day off a week that I don't work out or play sports. And he's like, that might be your problem. He goes, you ever thought about being lazy? And I'm like, what's lazy? Because I'm a Midwesterner. I grew up on a farm. Being lazy, not in my MO. And he's like, when I say lazy, I mean like, don't play sports, don't work out for a little while. That lazy. And I'm like, thought hadn't crossed my mind. Can't do it. Just can't do it. He's like, try it. Just try it. I'm like, no. He goes, you want to put weight on? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, then try it. I'm like, all right, get me into details other than don't work out and don't play sports. Give me some better details here. He's like, all right, this is what I want you to do. You wake up in the morning, you have your coffee, whatever, go to work. Do your normal thing at work. When you come home, don't go to the gym. Don't go play sports. The hell am I supposed to do then? He's like, I don't give a crap. Play video games. Do whatever the hell you want. I don't care. Go drink a beer. I don't care. Just don't go work out. Don't play sports. I'm like, it's not going to be easy for me. He's like, all right, obviously this is tough. So tell you what, we'll set some goals. If you're not up to, in 6 months, if you can't put on 20 pounds, if you can't hit 240 pounds in 6 months, then I will train you for a year for free. And he charges like $100 an hour. Okay. He goes, I'll train you for a year for free to go play. I don't give a crap if you want to go play for the Portland Trail Blazers. I'll train you. We'll go play for the Seahawks. I'll train you. Okay. What happens if this doesn't work? Or if it does work? And he goes, so if it doesn't work, he'll train me. Okay, so what happens if this does work? Well, if it does work, you put the weight on. That was your goal, right? Yeah. Okay, so either way, I'm a winner. That makes sense. I either get weight, or he's going to train me professionally for free. Win-win. All right. 6 months pass. Check in. I'm at 240. 242, actually. My goal was about 260. And he goes, all right, let's keep going. So, another 6 months. And I get up to about 250. Actually, 3 months later, I was up to about 249, 252-ish is what I was bouncing between. All right, let's keep it going. And so I get up to my 260. And he's like, all right, we hit your goal. Now, what we don't want to do is just balls to the wall, go play sports, and shock your body. So what I want you to do, every day, 2 sets of 10 push-ups, 2 sets of 10 sit-ups, crunches. That's it. No more. Okay? I was a big core workout guy when I was younger. I can do that. Not a problem. Cool. Start doing them. 2 weeks later, I dropped almost 25 pounds. From 20 sit-ups and 20 push-ups a day. 25 pounds in 2 weeks. Shit. All right. Got to restart. Okay. Got to get back up. Not so aggressive this time. All right. Let's get going on this. Get back up to my target weight. Start doing just a little bit of push-ups. A couple of sit-ups. That was it. Started 10 sit-ups, 10 push-ups a day. That was all I was doing. I was doing counter crunch, or counter push-ups as well, where you kind of set with your feet. Your body is inclined, your feet are down a little bit, and you do dips. And I was doing 10 of those a day as well. And over the course of 2 weeks, I dropped about 9 pounds and panicked and had to stop again because It's literally too aggressive. And so I've lived with that now. And now I stay between that 260 range, 270 range at 6'9". And I feel great. I'm not out of shape. Yeah, you know, I need to start doing some stuff to get my joints back into it because I'm starting to notice some joint pain. But, you know, I'm less self-conscious about my weight because I have the weight now. My arms are still skinny. Now, I will say, the one thing that I was never self-conscious about throughout my life was my legs. I've had tree trunk legs all my life because I grew up on a farm and I rode bike a lot. And so I've had tree trunk legs all my life. Now I got a little bit of stomach and chest. I still have no arms because arms will never be my thing. I've come to terms with that. And so, so I've got my weight on. I just wish I could tone it up a little bit. If I could stay around 245 to 250 with a little bit of definition, I would like that. And now I'm in my late 30s. I don't have to worry about trying to play for the Seahawks or trying to play for the Portland Trail Blazers or going up to the BC Lions or anything. I'm past that. I'm past that. Now once COVID, of course, because now COVID got in the damn way. Once COVID's over and I can actually go to the gym and I can interact at the gym like how I would like to and play a little ball, I'm going to start doing that again. And get myself back into that shape. Because when that hobby basketball tournament does roll around, I'm going to clean house on some people. I'll be the old man that has low mileage because I had to take that 10 years off just to put the weight on. So, back to the original part of the story, teeth, self-conscious part number 2. And now I'm in my late 30s. I'm getting that taken care of. So, get those 2 things off the board, move forward. Boom. All right. I just realized we have passed an hour of the show, and we haven't even talked professional sports at all. This is crazy. So, a couple things in the NFL we need to touch base on. I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention this. And before we do, hang on, David said something. My uncle played semi-pro football and said it was sucked, and you have to absolutely love the game because there are no perks at all. 100% accurate. Not just no perks. You're playing with a bunch of people who are not good enough to get into college and play in college. You're playing with a bunch of people who are hanging on to their high school dream that probably weren't even the greatest of high school players. And it's brutal. Yes, story time with Ryan. Every Tuesday night on Sports Stuff Hub Live. Grab yourself a warm milk and some cookies. It's story time. Grab your favorite blankie. It is semi-pro football is one of the most brutal things out there. It is 100 times worse than any other level of football. No perks, no pay. They don't help you travel. You have to buy your own pads and gear and everything. No insurance. If you get hurt, it's on you. Most insurance companies will drop you if they know you play semi-pro football because they know how bad it is. A buddy of mine who was the son of the stepson of one of my coworkers back when I was up in Bellingham, him and I used to play basketball together, and this kid was athletic as all get out. And he ended up playing in that semi-pro team, the Avalanche, the Bellingham Avalanche, or Whatcom Avalanche, or whatever they were. And he got his knee shredded, absolutely destroyed in practice by a teammate because they don't know form. Most of those guys, they never were taught properly, and they don't have the work ethic to go to college. They don't have the work ethic to take it to the next level. So it's these people that are hanging on to their hopes and dreams by living in this, I'm going to dominate a semi-pro league. And they don't. They really don't. They end up causing more harm than good. And that's what you have to avoid. But yeah, it's brutal. And so, anyway, so I would be remiss if I didn't discuss this at least. Henry Ruggs, second-year wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders, was in an accident last night where apparently he's being charged with DUI, and the person that he hit died in the accident. And obviously, we're not talking about this for ratings. We're not talking about this for anything else other than I hope the best for the family of the person that died in the accident, and we'll see what happens with Ruggs. I know that he actually has been arrested, and he is in the Las Vegas Police Department now. He will not be let out on bail until he meets with a judge, I read, and really sad to see happen, but he was clearly intoxicated according to the police report, and so he is going to be charged with a DUI and a death resulting. And in Las Vegas, apparently that is a felony with a 2-year minimum penalty in prison. So we might see the end of Henry Ruggs' career, but more importantly, we had a young, I believe, 23-year-old woman who died in this accident, and I hope nothing but positive to her family moving forward. It's always sad to hear, and hopefully they can get past this and find some semblance of happiness moving forward. Getting out of the that kind of news. Yesterday we had announced that Von Miller is traded to the Rams. That is now official. Von Miller from the Broncos traded to the Rams for a couple of draft picks. The Rams also pick up the rest of his contract, which was about $8 million, I believe is what I heard. So pretty significant. Rams defense just got an upgrade, considering they were already good. Just got an even upgradeder. Not much happened today. Today was the trade deadline in the NFL, and I believe it was at 1 o'clock Pacific time, 4 o'clock Eastern, and there wasn't really a lot that happened. Melvin Ingram got traded from the Steelers to the Chiefs, and for a 6th-round pick. So not a lot happened. Now, I will say some of the people that there was talks of them being traded are now going to be released. Desean Jackson got released officially from the LA Rams because they couldn't find a trade partner. So he is going to go on the waivers, and he will be a free agent. So we'll see if Desean Jackson gets picked up. I know they'd been trying to trade him because he was unhappy with his playing time, and so the team was trying to work with him. One of the other ones that was a big name that people were thinking was potentially going to see a trade happen today was Odell Beckham Jr. And Odell Beckham Jr. did not get traded. And one reason why, if the Browns are smart about this, if they're not planning on keeping him, if they trade him, the team would have to pick up his contract in order for the Browns to be out of it. And not many teams will do that, especially for a player who hasn't been performing. So, if they cut Odell Beckham Jr. tomorrow, they are not on the hook for his salary at all. He is past the dead cap state, and so they can cut him tomorrow, and it'll save them $8 million against the salary cap. That might be where the $8 million came from that I was talking about with Von Miller. But they're going to save that money. Now, if a player claims Odell Beckham Jr. off the waivers, they will then pick up that $8 million salary. If he clears waivers, he's free and clear. And nobody picks up anything, and he just signs a new contract. So, quite an interesting thing that could happen with Odell Beckham Jr. if the Browns decide to part ways with him. One other one that came up that a lot of people were thinking potentially we were going to see a deal done with was Desean Watson. Now, this has been a topic that I have brought up multiple times over the last few weeks. Desean Watson was not going to get traded. Now, Was there a lot of rumors? Yes. Was there a lot of was there any of the Miami Dolphins putting the rumors to bed? No, there wasn't. Brian Flores multiple times said Tua is our quarterback today. He didn't say there are no trade rumors. There's nothing. We're not going after Deshaun. There was nothing said to completely dispel the trade rumors, which is what kept them alive and well, and which is what also was a key piece in destroying the psyche of Tua, and which I think was the worst thing that they could have done. I said this on the show the last 2 weeks. I believe it was the last 2 weeks, or at least multiple times over the last several weeks. With Desean Watson's unclarity and uncertainty, no GM in the NFL is going to make that trade. And that's exactly what came out today after the trade line ended. Duh. Literally been saying it for weeks. It doesn't take a genius to figure this out. Even if you did conditional picks, this Desean Watson investigation may not be over for a year plus. We could be looking at this exact day in 365 days, and it's still going on. And Desean Watson not being on the commissioner's exempt list. I said this before. The number one reason why he's not is because Houston's not going to play him. And Goodell comes out and says, oh, even if he gets traded, he won't end up on the commissioner's exempt list. I'll call his bluff. The NFL is run by the billionaire owners. A billionaire owner, guarantee, paid Mr. Goodell a large sum of money to come out and say that because they want to stir up trade interest. Guarantee. Desean Watson, if he got traded, would be on the commissioner's exempt list the next day. Bet it. Bet it. So, here we have Desean Watson being toyed around in trade rumors, with Miami not dispelling the rumors, but yet Carolina did. Washington did. They at least had their back of their quarterbacks and said, nope, we're out. We're rolling with what we got. But instead of Miami doing that, Miami toys with Tua. Tua is our quarterback. He is our quarterback today. Yeah, well, what about tomorrow? Tua is our quarterback today. Yeah, but are you guys going to trade for Desean Watson? Tua is our quarterback today. He is our starting quarterback today. In the locker room today, Tua is our quarterback. Are you going to answer the question about whether or not Desean Watson is on your guys' trade radar? Are you guys going to make a trade for Desean Watson? Tua is our quarterback. Yeah, you said that, dumbass. And now, you want to come out and go, yeah, well, we weren't really going to trade for Desean Watson until we had some clarity on the situation. Yeah, that's not going to happen for a year there, clown. Everybody knew that. You just refused to say it and toyed with Tua. And that was coming after a year where you kept pulling him and putting in Ryan Fitzpatrick. So instead of backing your young quarterback, you now put him in a position that could potentially damage him long term with your organization. Because now he's going to feel anytime he slips up, are you guys going to draft my replacement? Are you going to trade for a big name that's on the market? Are you going to sign a free agent that's on the market? What are you guys going to do? And now he's going to be constantly looking over his shoulder. And that's damaging to a quarterback. And a lot of people say, oh, they're millionaires and they're adults. They need to grow up. When you have a job that is as risk-reward as things like the NFL, where you can literally get benched at any given time, or traded, or cut, and that's your skill set, yeah, it's tough. Because as a quarterback, you're supposed to be the leader of the team. The quarterback is supposed to be the guy. And when you damage your quarterback's psyche like that, you not only hurt your quarterback, but you hurt your team. So my fear now with Tua, how much damage did Brian Flores and the GM and ownership do with all this Desean Watson talk ongoing the entire time? Now, Houston will have to hold on to Desean until the end of the league season, which is after the Super Bowl. Now, they can come to terms on a deal between now and then. They just can't make it official until the new league year starts in, March 2nd or March 5th or March 15th or whatever it is. So, in the meantime, though, you've now hurt Tua's psyche and his trust in the team and his trust in ownership and most importantly, his trust with his coach. Now, I've said this before. A lot of teams you'll see, it seems like a battle between the GM and the head coach for power. The GM will do what they want to do and then just tell the coach, hey, play with the team that I give you. But you'll see a lot of the most successful teams out there, the GM and the coach work hand in hand. The GM builds a team around the coach's strategies and the game plans, such as, this is not personal bias, but such as why you see a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's had only 3 coaches in 75 years. Because they work with ownership and they work with the GM, and the GM understands we're building a team, and I want to work with the coach because everybody's job's on the line. And when the GM goes and pulls the trigger on stuff just because he likes a guy that doesn't necessarily fit in the team's package, that's where coaches and GMs get upset at each other. And that's where GMs can get fired or coaches can get fired. Because all of a sudden, why did you pay Albert Hainsworth that kind of money to come in when he's a 3-4 down lineman and we run a 4-3 defense or vice versa? And you bring this guy in to a defense that doesn't fit for him. And now all of a sudden, he's not doing crap over the last 4 games. You're the GM that made the deal. I'm the coach that has to plug him in, and now I look like the fool for not using him properly when you didn't clear this with me. And it's that kind of stuff that it's like, if they're not working together, they ain't lasting. Couple of comments. Rams only had to pay $700K of his contract. Yeah, it was something. I was thinking the Odell Beckham Jr. $8 million. Sorry, I'm late. What'd I miss? You missed a long story by me, Abel, talking about my history. Sources on Desean Watson. No one going to trade for him without knowing exactly if Watson will be able to play this year. Exactly. Nobody's going to do it. It's just stupid to do it. That's what will cost you a job. That's what will cost you your GM job. That's what will cost you a head coaching job by making that foolish trade. We also had Jalen Smith get released by the Packers. Former Dallas Cowboy Jalen Smith. We already talked about Djax. Yeah, so not a whole lot that happened. We did see some shocking things happen in the NFL over the weekend. Thursday night, we saw Green Bay take down Arizona. A very depleted Green Bay beat Arizona 24-21 on Thursday Night Football. That was, I picked Arizona just because of, and I said this in a tweet. I picked Arizona because of the amount of people out for Green Bay. But I said, with my luck with this, Green Bay is going to end up winning this game in spite of me picking against them. And sure enough, they did. It was all because of me. They saw that tweet. Aaron Rodgers saw that Ryan picked the Cardinals. And he took that personal. He took it personal. And he had to prove me wrong. Aaron, sorry, buddy. My bad. Biggest shock, or bigger shock of the weekend, one of the most talked about things, is Cincinnati falling to the New York Jets behind the quarterback play of third-year quarterback Mike White. Now, some of you may not know who Mike White even is. Mike White was a 2018 quarterback drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, who never made the roster and ended up floundering around and found his way to New York, and then ends up playing getting the start, which last week he came in and threw 2 touchdowns in relief of Zach Wilson after Zach Wilson had kind of a disastrous start to the game and then he got hurt. And then Mike White comes in and gets the start against Cincinnati with Zach Wilson still out, and Mike White throws for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns and takes down the Cincinnati Bengals in the process. And now people are going ape shit over Mike White. It's crazy. It's crazy. Then you had Tennessee and Indianapolis, and the Colts lost 34-31. Yeah. I love Carson Wentz, but man, that was brutal to watch. That pick 6 from his own end zone where literally was a 2-yard interception return for a touchdown. Threw it left-handed, shot putted it right to the defender. Oh, bummer. The other big thing that happened following that game was it was announced that Derrick Henry broke his foot. The NFL's reigning rushing leader and this year's rushing leader in both touchdowns and yardage through even now 8 weeks, broke his foot, went in for surgery today, and is going to miss at least 6 weeks, most likely out for the season. That sucks. That really sucks. Not just from a fantasy standpoint because I had him in my lineup, but that sucks. I was 100% on board with seeing Derrick Henry absolutely light it up this year and have a dominant year and hold a 4-year stretch of the best dominance by a running back in NFL history. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Now, the Titans did go out and sign Adrian Peterson, and Adrian Peterson is ready. We'll see if his body can actually hold up. Another surprise, the Pittsburgh Steelers put the Cleveland Browns back in their place at the basement of the AFC North, and Pittsburgh now has a winning record. A lot of people had Cleveland picked to beat Pittsburgh, but with Baker Mayfield's non-throwing shoulder being an issue, I wasn't sure if he was even going to play. When they announced that he was going to play, I shook my head and said, that was dumb. Let him recover. I don't care if it's his non-throwing shoulder. You guys heard the story that I had a little bit ago, and that was my throwing shoulder. But those injuries do not go away. If he gets hit in the wrong way, good night. So, Pittsburgh ends up taking down Cleveland 15-10 in a game where Pittsburgh's kicker got leveled on a fake field goal and got a concussion on it. On a helmet-to-helmet hit by the defender. This should have been a penalty, but it wasn't. And now Cleveland is back at 4th in the division. And Pittsburgh's 1 game out. They're 1 game out. Pittsburgh's next 2 games are Chicago and Detroit, in that order. If Cincy and Baltimore drop the next 2, Pittsburgh's back in first place. Provided they beat both Chicago and Detroit. But scary. Philly absolutely just destroyed Detroit 44-6. What other shocks did we have? The Patriots took down the Chargers after everybody was all over the Chargers nuts and how they were going to be, one of the best teams in the AFC, which I think they still could be. And then New England just dismantles them and made their offense look pedestrian. One of the other ones we saw, Jameis Winston is going to miss the rest of the season. He went down with a a ruptured Achilles or torn Achilles or whatever, or ACL or whatever. And Trevor Siemian comes in and beats the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Taysom Hill was out with a concussion, so that puts Trevor Siemian as the number 2 quarterback. And now we're in a predicament of even if Taysom Hill is ready to go, now do you elevate Ian Book just in case something happens to Trevor Siemian? We could see yet another quarterback. We have now had 8 quarterbacks get their first career NFL start this season through 8 weeks. 8. 6 rookies and 2 vets. 8 quarterbacks. How funny is that? So, getting into the next game, Dallas, Dak Prescott couldn't play. So, no, he was... What the hell just happened? So, no, he was not able to play. He was not cleared to play, which then brings another backup for Dallas. And no, not Andy Dalton. No, not Ben DiNucci. And Dallas still ends up winning. And it's behind Cooper Rush, of all people. Cooper Rush. The 8th quarterback to get a start in the NFL this year. The 8th player to get his first start at quarterback in the NFL. 7 rookies. 6 rookies. 6 rookies. The top 5, obviously. And then Davis Mills. And now, Mike White and Cooper Rush. 8. Now, if Ian Book gets a start, that's 9. And I believe that is an NFL record for most quarterbacks to get their first career start in a season. It might be 10, so we might have to see Kellen Mond or Sam Ehlinger or Kyle Trask. We may have to see one of them get it instead. Also, I should say. But it's possible. We're almost there. It is entirely possible. But then Dallas, on Sunday night, takes down Minnesota behind a 300-yard performance of a quarterback who's never even played a snap in the NFL prior. Never even played a snap. Last year, Dak Prescott was hurt, and Cooper Rush was not even on the field. And he gets the win over Minnesota. Dallas is now 7-1. Or 6-1. They're 1 loss. I'm pretty sure it might be 6-1. 1 loss. So now people are saying, is Dallas back? Is Dallas a Super Bowl favorite? Maybe. Maybe. Then we had the Manning cast last night. Monday Night Football. The New York Giants travel to Arrowhead Stadium and face the Kansas City Chiefs. And that was the most lackluster game that on a Monday night that I've watched for Chiefs in years, since before the Alex Smith era. And Dan Orlovsky pointed this out today, that Patrick Mahomes is one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL, but yet mechanically is one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, here's something I had to say in terms of that. Do you know why Patrick Mahomes is having problems right now with throwing the ball? Watch a game. He throws while he's jumping. He throws sidearm. He throws underhanded. He throws kind of off like this, like flicking it, when he doesn't have to. Why? Because we spent the first 3 years of his career praising him for making those asinine throws that he never needed to but did anyways. And now it's become part of his game. Much like his brother on TikTok, it's now a matter of social media and clicks. And so if you tell somebody that they're doing this amazing stuff and you're praising them for all this amazing stuff, they're going to find ways to put it into their game. I've watched enough film of people showing Patrick Mahomes in practice making his no-look passes and all this kind of crap. Why is he doing that in practice? That is the kind of crap then you'll pull during a game. And then guess what? You throw an interception. Call it on the receiver all you want. But if you throw an off-target pass and the receiver can't catch it, or if you throw it behind him, or if you fumble the ball, it's because you're doing the wrong stuff. And so all the stuff that we praised him for years, for the first few years of his career, now he's trying to make it an every play thing because that's what he wants to be known for now. That's the hype that he has to live up to because That's how this world works. Stop praising these kids coming into the NFL for doing these atypical things that no coach in the world would ever coach their player to throw a ball like that. No coach in the world would ever tell a kid that's okay to throw that. That's why you end up going out to some of these places now and you see these kids just throw these awkward passes because they're like, I saw Patrick Mahomes do that in a game and he won a Super Bowl. And then the coaches get on them. They're like, that's not what we practiced. No coach is going to go out there and tell Patrick Mahomes, yeah, throw that sidearm. Throw that no-look pass. You don't need to. Now, Matthew Stafford's been doing that for decades. Brett Favre did it forever. Aaron Rodgers has done it forever. Ben Roethlisberger's done it forever. Tony Romo did it. All that kind of stuff. But it was never hyped up because they were never the Patrick Mahomes of their generation. And Patrick Mahomes now is a hyped up quarterback. And so anything he does is overhyped. Then he just tries to live up to it. So if he gets back to his mechanics, yeah, he can get back to winning Super Bowls. And occasionally throw that crap. Occasionally. Stop doing it every other play. He literally, last night, he literally threw that jump pass garbage and it got intercepted. And then the very next play, Daniel Jones threw an interception. And then the very next play after that, Mahomes ran the same exact play and threw the same exact jump pass. He literally just got intercepted. And then they run back at the same play and he throws a jump pass again. Why? Why? That makes no sense. Just throw the damn ball. There's no reason to get that hot garbage in there and make it look like you did something special. Just complete the damn pass. Stop with all this extra crap. Get back to your fundamentals. Get back to your mechanics. Win Super Bowls. Simple as that. Get into some of the comments. NFL trade line drives me absolutely nuts. Teams hardly ever make big moves and hold too much weight in draft picks. Well, and part of it is the compensatory picks. The compensation picks really kill the trade deadline. Get rid of some of that stuff, and all of a sudden, we're talking a little more activity. Calvin Johnson and Adrian Peterson were drafted in the same year. One is already in the Hall of Fame. Accurate. And one is a genetic freak. Of all the 8 new quarterbacks, how many are FCS or Division II quarterbacks? The 8 that have started so far, Mike Wilson. Well, Trey Lance, obviously. I got to look up. I think Cooper Rush might have even been FCS. And then GOAT. There's my girl. But, yeah. So, anyway, my rant on Patrick Mahomes is done. Let's get back to fundamental football and yeah. All right. So we have a box to open tonight. And I'm going to get my camera set up for this. I want to get to this before it gets too late because it's already 7:37. Oh, E, I was going to ask you how was the show in Tri-Cities? Was it good? Was there a good turnout? Cooper Rush, Central Michigan. So, is Central Michigan FCS? No, Central Michigan's FBS. so then two of the quarterbacks are FCS. Next one's in February, Saturday and Sunday. Might have to check that out. So, before we get started with our product rip for the night, I gotta show this bad boy off. So this came back from PSA. Some of you may have seen this. This was my big redemption that I pulled from Select this last April from Collector's Corner Northwest. Massive card. This is the tie-dye XRC QB1. So Trevor Lawrence, numbered 10 of 25. And it gemmed. So I am 4 for 4 on monsters at PSA over the last 12 months. Pretty excited about that. I will have this weekend, unless it sells in the meantime. I will have it this weekend at the Auburn Card Show for anybody that wants to take a look at it. Thank you. All right, so here we're going to rip a box of 2021 Topps Heritage Minors. So this is 2 autographs, on-card autographs per box, by the way. So, and tomorrow night on break night, I've only got 2 breaks posted. We have our loyalty rewards break. I sent out the email about that today. So if you got the email, you're in the break. You don't have to do anything. It's a free break. You don't have to ask to be in it. This is apparently a box topper pack. If you qualified for the loyalty rewards break, you're automatically in the recon break. It's just a 1-box free break. All right, so this is the bonus pack: C.J. Abrams, Garrett Mitchell, and Max Meyer. But tomorrow night we have a half caser of Absolute Football and a 5-box Recon Basketball PYT. Both are PYTs. Greensboro Grasshoppers. Priester, Westberg, Jeter Downs, Rutschman, Nwogu, Hudson Head, Jawan Bay, and an Asa Lacy in action. Yeah, so tomorrow night's actually going to be a pretty stellar break night with those 3 breaks. I might add something last minute if we've gotten enough people on the live stream. Hunter Green, Jeremy Pena, Jaron Duran, Ryan Velati, Jordan Walker. That's kind of cool. Michael Harris, Ethan Hankins, and Isaiah Campbell. But go get your spots in those PYTs. The football one was filling really fast to start with, and then it kind of cooled down. We've got about 20 spots left in it, 20 teams left in it. Still a lot of good teams left. Riley Green, Ivan Johnson, Burl Caraway. We get a mini of Nolan Gorman. Looks like almost like a sticker, but well, maybe not a sticker. But Nolan Gorman mini. Brennan Davis, Matthew Libator, Xavier Edwards, and Gabriel Arias. Freddie Freeman homer. Braves up 7-0. Austin Cox, Vaughn Grissom, Milan Tolentino, Garrett Mitchell, Reed Detmers, Austin Martin, Simon Muzziotti, Pete Crow Armstrong. Josiah Gray, Glenn Allen Hill, Yolbert Sanchez, Tyler Soderstrom, Sammy Infante, Justin Foscue, Francisco Alvarez, David Calabrese. Max Meyer, Jeremy Edens, Nick Bitsko, Heston Kierstadt, Mini of Francisco Alvarez, Cade Cavalli, Calais Rosario, Austin Hendrick. But yeah, make sure especially if you're in the recon break tomorrow night, the loyalty break, that you're on right away at 4, because I'm going to run that thing probably by 4:15 at the latest. 4:15 Pacific time. Riley Thompson, Nick York, Michael Escato, Robert Pawson, C.J. Abrams, Blaze Jordan, Mike Ciani, Shane Baz. Zach Veen, Miguel Vargas, Spencer Torkelson, Jordan Adams, Wander, JT Jin, Josh Jung, Gage Workman. And I do have a couple of boxes of this left on the website if anybody wants to buy any. Nick Lodolo, JC Correa, Jeremy De La Rosa, Anthony Servideo, Marco Luciano Mini, Evan Carter, Justin Lang, Heriberto Hernandez. And by the way, today I did add Topps Update hobby boxes. They'll be in Friday. Joan Duran, Braden Schumacher, Brandon Marsh, Dontrell Willis, Ed Howard, Casey Schmidt, Kobe Mayo, and Taryn Vavra. Misael Urbina, AJ Vukovic, Aaron Sabato, Jesse Franklin, Chipper Jones, Alexander Vargas, Ben Hernandez, Werner Blakely. Yeah, I don't mind the heritage or the minor league stuff. I kind of like some of it. I try not to rip too much of it though. Petey Halpin, Reed Detmers, Spencer Torkelson, Jared Kelly, Jared Schuster, Aaron Bracho, Justin Torner, and Ronnie Mauricio. Like, this will probably be the only box of this I rip myself. Jefferson Espinal, Kanan Smith, Nigba, Jose Tena. There's our first auto, Bryce Elder. Blue ink on-card auto. Not numbered. But Bryce Elder for the Braves. Keone Cavaco, Matthew Libator, CJ Van Eyck, and Andre Nibby. Yeah, I love on-card autos. They're fantastic. George Valera, Brandon Lewis, Simeon Woods Richardson, Pete Crow Armstrong, Garrett Mitchell, Cole Henry, Owen Casey, Tanner Burns. We're almost all the way through this box already. Holy crap, this one flew. Alec Thomas, Grant McCrae, Luis Matos, Dylan Dingler, Jairo Pomeros. That's actually a pretty good rookie auto, or pretty good auto right there. I pulled him in Bowman as well. Not numbered. That's pretty solid. Eduardo Garcia, Tyler Freeman, and Alex Santos. Yeah, Palmeiras is Palmeiras is a pretty solid prospect. Matt Manning, Casey Martin, Jake Snyder, Yordis Valdez, Mini of Wander for the Durham Bulls. Hayden Cantrell, Nick Gonzalez, Antonio Cabello. Brett Beatty, Gabriel Moreno, Avery Short, Blaze Jordan, Freudis Nova, Helio Ramos, Trevor McDonald, and Ivan Herrera. Last pack. George Kirby, Travis Swaggerty, Wilderd Patino, Corbin Carroll, Jackie Robinson, Eric Pena, Jordan Groshans, and Gunnar Henderson. So, pretty solid box. Nothing to get overly excited about, but the Palmeiras auto is pretty solid. Let me get those sleeved real quick. All right, how many people we got on for the giveaway tonight? I didn't see any parallels. Now, it might have just been me not knowing what I was looking for. I mean, what are the parallels? I don't really know how the parallels with this would work. I mean, are they supposed to be a different color, a different border, numbered on the front? I mean, what are we looking for? I'm not used to Heritage Miners parallels. Check the checklist. Yeah, they're just borders. Yeah, they're border. I didn't see any colored borders. I got no colored borders. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Not too worried. Like I said, I like the autos that we got. Flip stock gold red border. I don't know what flip stock is. Maybe one of them's flip stock because a couple of them did feel a little different. I'll go through and look later. I'm not going to try to sort through every card. Yeah, I don't know. I'll look through them later. Okay, how many people we got on for the giveaway this week? Just type me in the chat. Let's see what we got. Oh, by the way, Abel, send me your address, bud. I was going through getting packages ready and I forgot to message you. I don't have your address. Well, I did not get a relic, that's for sure. And this just says 2 autographs. That's it. Doesn't say anything about parallels or anything. Or relics. So who do we got then? Who's in for tonight? Let's see, we got Miller. I saw Taylor on earlier. E is in here. Who's in for the giveaway? Anybody? Is anybody in for the giveaway tonight? Let's see who's in for the giveaway tonight. Just type me in the chat if you're in. Miller's in. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Taylor's in. We're just doing it. We just did a box rip, and I was going to give away some cards out of it. Chris, most shows I usually do a box rip sometime throughout the show, and then I give away some cards out of it. Well, if we've got enough people, I'll give away both autos. give away both the Elder and the Pomeris autos. Miles, we were just talking about Dan Orlovsky put a tweet up earlier that was talking about how Mahomes is one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL, but he's one of the most mechanically what word did he use? Unsound or whatever it is. He's basically damaged mechanically right now, and a lot of it just boils down to all the awkward throws and stuff that he's been forcing himself to make and being praised for making, and basically it's wrecking his mechanics, because now he's going out and making these throws on purpose. He's going out and making all these obscene throws on purpose now to make highlight reels and to get all the oohs and ahs from people, all the, how did he make that throw? And now he's making those throws on throws that he could literally just stand there in the pocket. Like, I brought up a perfect example last night when the Giants picked him off the first time. He did that jump throw, they picked him off. Then Daniel Jones throws an interception on the very next play. Then, when the Chiefs get the ball back on the very next play, they run the same exact play, and he throws the same exact jump pass instead of just throwing the damn pass. And so he's now gotten to this point where he's got to, it's like he's trying to now make these sidearms and underhands and flicks with the wrist and jump throws and dives and all this kind of stuff, because he's trying to make highlight reels. And it's ruining his mechanics, essentially, because now he is forcing himself to make those style of throws versus just throwing and making him successful is what made him successful. So if he just gets back to his mechanics and his fundamentals, he can get back to winning games. Anyway, let's get to the giveaway. Who's in? So we've got so far Taylor and Miller are in. Just type me in the chat if you want in for the giveaway. We're giving away from 2021 Heritage Minor League. We're giving away this Bryce Elder auto and this Jero Pomeris auto. I'm going to do the dice roller real quick so I can bring up the list, because I don't do this the same way I do a normal. So 5, we're going to randomize the list 5 times. So just type me in the chat if you want to get entered to win. So far we have Miller and we have Taylor. Does anybody else want to win? Just type M-E, me, in the chat, and I'll put you in. We'll do this giveaway, and then I'll let you guys go for the night, because I need to go eat dinner. Chris, Miles, Abel, Goat, any of you guys still in here? You wanna get entered for the drawing? And don't forget to go get your teams in breaks tomorrow night. We're kaboom hunting a half case of Absolute Football, PYT style. Hey, you won a big one last week, Miles. You won a big one, buddy. All right, well, we're going to randomize the list then, since it looks like nobody else is getting in. So it's going to go to Taylor and Miller 5 times. 1, 2, good luck, guys. 3, 4, and 5. Miller wins the Elder. Taylor wins the Pomeris. right, so make sure you guys get your spots in break night for tomorrow night. I'm going to sign off because it's 8:05, and I'm going to go eat some dinner and get prepped for tomorrow night. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. Hopefully next week I can get a guest on, as long as I can get my tests run on my software between now and then. I'm going to hopefully have some East Coast guests back on the show, and crossing my fingers that it doesn't crash my system again. But, all right, everybody, I'm going to get out of here, so you guys all have a good night, and I will see you tomorrow night starting at 4 p.m., break night, 4 p.m. Pacific time, starting off with Recon Basketball, October Loyalty Break, the free break, so make sure you guys get in here for that. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow night.